Yes, hello. This is Leroy Liebling again, doing the follow up audio only video for the theme Orwellianism that I've begun to introduce now into my YouTube channel, An Introduction to Hallian Doctrine. It is, of course, April 2nd of 2023, and the theme of Orwellianism, of course, has its roots back in George Orwell's novel 1984, which was a bestseller, masterpiece, and also to this day still a classic. And if anything, what I've begun to do and intend to continue to do, not just because of something that happened to me recently having to do with privacy on the internet, but also because it can help many people in general, the whole world. I'm here to make this a better world, really. I don't know if everybody thinks that that is the case, but it certainly is. But in any case, I know that, and God knows that, and that's what matters most to me. Anyhow, the fact of the matter is that I've begun this venture now. It's kind of warded off from a project that I had ongoing very recently over at my Facebook concepts page, of which his title is An Introduction to Hallian Doctrine, also, just as is the title of my YouTube channel. But now, to speak a bit more about the novel per se, 1984 by George Orwell, I just wanted to point out that long before the director Cameron, who produced the movie The Titanic, released it in 1997 in theaters, long before he pinned down the very effective concept of making a general broad scale tragedy more palpable by focusing on just a few main characters. Yeah, especially, when you utilize a love story, it's just something that people can relate to so much more than the abstract concept that even Joseph Stalin alluded to, just kind of making the fact that many people can die over X tragedy less palpable. That's just the way the mind seems to work. The mind focuses on one or two persons, main characters, or a handful of main characters for that matter, regarding X given tragedy in which many perished, hundreds, thousands, you name it. uh, it just makes the mind kind of tune in and relate so much more than the abstract concept of 100 or 1,000 or well over 1,000 persons who perished in X tragedy. So anyway, George Orwell pinned down and utilized that strategy very well to make people kind of not view the actual underlying political concepts of 1984, his novel, and so much into this abstraction of hundreds of thousands of persons uh, suffering the oppression of such a dystopia as the one that is described in that novel 1984 by him. I actually collected many books by George Orwell when I was living in Montreal, and the fact that was many years ago, of course. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't get to read them all. I remember the titles of a number of them: Down and Out in Paris and London, Keep the Apidistra Flying, Homage to Catalonia. Tragically, when I moved from one property address in Dominican Republic to another property address in the country, far off, disconnected from that location. It, it tragically, those books were all lost, and I of course, lament not having gotten to read them, but I got to read perhaps one other book apart from 1984 and Animal Farm. That's tragic in itself. He wrote many books, actually, George Orwell. But anyway, his masterpiece to this day, as I have stated, has to be, many would agree with me, the tragic story of 1984, which is actually about a dystopia, a large scale dystopia, but which George Orwell utilizes two main characters, Winston Smith and Julia, to kind of make the readers connect so much more at a personal level with the tragedy of that whole scenario. So anyway, I recommend that anyone who can purchase the book 1984 by author George Orwell. Let me disclose a bit more about the storyline of the movie and also the book 1984, because it was made into certainly at least two motion pictures. Some people might not have been aware until now that I did get to view the older 1984 movie that was produced. It was decades before 1984 per se, in which, when that year commenced, surprisingly, a fantastic job was done by Virgin Films in releasing in theaters, movie theaters, a movie based on the novel 1984. Anyhow, the older motion picture that was made for 1984, black and white, I I found it of quite good quality. I actually liked it, considering the effects that were utilized in that movie. I think for the time, pretty good special effects were made use of. But in any case, still the motion picture that will stick with me most is the one that was produced by Virgin Films in 1984 itself. And I had the privilege to view that motion picture precisely around that time. I didn't actually see the movie in a movie theater, but I got to rent it, and VHS, I believe it was, or but in any case, I saw the motion picture and I loved it, and I was entranced by it. I found that the actor uh, who portrayed the character Winston Smith in 1984 in the Virgin Films version of 1984 for the big screen, he did a great job. He is, of course, I believe his name is. Um, I think he is. Uh, 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 I think his name is. Well, let me just look his name up. I confuse him a lot with another character, but let me see. He's John Hurt. John Hurt. Yes, of course. The reason why I confuse him still to this day is because there's another great actor who I admire tremendously also, and his last name is Hurt, of course. And but let me just plug in here and confirm, one moment. His name, John Hurt. And let's look him up here. Okay. Yeah, so his full name is actually John Vincent Hurt. And the other actor who kind of my mind crisscrossed, his last name with is actually, one moment. Let me just look for him briefly here in a quick Google search. He starred in the movie Kiss of Spider Woman, and his last name, of course, is Hurt. And let me get the cast of that motion picture. One moment. Uh, Kiss of Spider Woman cast. Okay, so these are just two brilliant actors whose last names I confused. William Hurt. That's his name, William Hurt. In any case, two brilliant actors, I must say. But the fact of the matter is that I personally, uh, just my own self, ultimately have opined that the character who played Julia in the motion picture 1984 produced by Virgin Films did at least a slightly better or even quite better job, in the sense that I must admit, okay, as a man, I found her attractive. Let's face it, but just the fact that she was so much younger than Hurt, and she just did such a great job in that motion picture. It thrilled me to just see someone kind of, I would say, compete, not necessarily intentionally, with an actor of such great stature as the actor Hurt, John Hurt. But in any case, he did a great job. I don't mean to put him down a lot, but just considering that the actress who worked alongside him in the motion picture 1984 of the year 1984 did such a wonderful job. Also, let me look her name up right now. That's at 1984, and then let me plug in cast. One moment, pulling that up right now, and I will locate her shortly in a moment now. So her name, of course, is, let's see her name there. Let's pull it up right now. Yes, Susanna Hamilton. And um, I mean, I there was a family member who kind of told me about the motion picture 1984 in that year before I got to see it myself, and he stated that in his opinion, perhaps she was not stunningly gorgeous, but I've always been highly attracted to her. I've always found her to be very, very attractive, very nice, interesting grin that she's always had in her face, very touching, and overall nice, pleasant features to look at on the big screen. In any case, he did a great job, Susanna Hamilton. And but just please don't just read the novel 1984. I recommend that anyone interested in this new theme of Orwellianism, it's relatively new, and I'll explain why later on. Um, uh, Anyone interested in that theme that I'm trying to start to promote unprecedentedly can read the novel 1984 in full, especially by ordering the actual book itself. But I recommend that you also order the Blu-ray or DVD, what have you, of that movie. And I think you'll kind of find more enjoyable the read of the novel 1984 if you watch the movie parallel to it. Have a good evening, and this is the second audio only uh, recording that I'm uploading now for the concept of Orwellianism, that I will be touching upon a lot more in the following videos that I make for my YouTube channel, An Introduction to Hallian Doctrine. This is Leroy Liebling signing off for now. Talk to you soon herein.